introduce our guest to you this evening. Thank you, sir. We have Nikhil Sharma, who's a sports commentator. He's an author as well. Harini Rana joining us. She's a sports broadcaster. And Gaurav Gupta is a senior assistant editor, Sports Times of India. Guys, I know what is done. And there is little point in any post-mortem. But Nikhil, clearly today, England was the better team. I mean, I've just seen Shashi Tharoor's tweet, and he's saying it doesn't matter. Okay, someone will lose and someone will win, and India lost. But he says he's upset about the fact that India just didn't come into the game at all. They didn't arrive.
Yes, Shreya. Unfortunately, it's one of those days when you've got to put your hands up and say the opposition was just so much better than us. We didn't show up for the party, or we didn't show up for the match. We didn't get going in the beginning. Those first 10 overs were very critical. India got to the 100 only by the 15th over. Some part of the blame the captain has to take on himself. Run a ball for 28, 29 balls is not good enough. Virat Kohli was also not, very quick to start off, but covered up later on. Great innings by Hardik Pandya. He took us to a, above par score on that pitch. But the bowlers just weren't good. And mind you, I think I totally agree with what Mr. Tharoor is saying. Both Butler and Alex Hales, my God, what, they toyed around with our bowling. I don't like to use the word hammered because it's not very respectful to athletes, but we were hammered by both of them today. They hit all our bowlers all around the park, and there was no ploy that we had for both of them or a strategy that seemed to work. It's just one of those days, Shreya. You have to kind of put your hands up and say, we weren't good enough and the opposition was so much better. Unfortunate it happened for India, but you've got to congratulate England.
Absolutely. But we had a bad day on a very bad day, Gaurav Gupta. I was hearing Rahul Dravid in his conference. Yeah, terrible day to have a terrible day. What a horrible Thursday this has turned out to be. But Gaurav Gupta, I was hearing Coach Rahul Dravid. He's saying that this is not the time to talk about the future of any senior player. But last World Cup's, the last World Cup we saw Kohli's exit as skipper. Could this one see Rohit's exit? Is that your sense?
The way things have gone about in this World Cup, I think with Rohit struggling with his personal form, his fitness also doesn't look like at the prime of his fitness as well, and clearly he struggled with the bat throughout the tournament. And today he struggled to force the pace. So I think, if you have had strong words in the past with the lesser players, with the Ridhiman Saha and with the others as well, with the Ishan Sharmas. Then I think it's time that you have a word with Rohit Sharma, the selectors, and perhaps Rahul Dravid himself. And this is the right time. This is the apt time. When you convey to him that, boss, you are still our best player. Formats, I mean, you and Virat, but I think both, and I think that conversation should happen with Virat as well. That perhaps this is the right time for us to rebuild a team and field a fresh team for the T20 2024 T20 World Cup in the United States and the West Indies. And the rebuilding needs to happen from now. The rebuilding needs to start now. So although Rohit has been an extremely the most successful captain in T20 history, we need to start the rebuilding process, and for that, some harsh words or perhaps put in a polite manner, but they do need to be conveyed to Rohit and Virat and to several others. I don't see Dinesh Karthik, Ravichandran Ashwin, Mohammad Shami, all these guys playing another T20I for India. We need to start fresh. We need to have a new team with Hardik Pandya leading it in all likelihood, and you need to have fresher legs and fresher players. The average age of this team was around 32, I think, which was always going to affect our fielding and our running between the wickets, and it did ultimately. Although Virat's fitness is next to none, but let's also accept that and we also need to perhaps take a call on KL Rahul now. Perhaps, in fact, not even perhaps, for sure. He is not our T20 opener, the sort of opener that we are looking for if we want to change our brand of cricket, which we desperately do want to do that, and we had done that in the recent past. It's just that coming into this World Cup, we just completely sort of abandoned that approach for something that is hard to understand, especially on a a flat deck at Adelaide, wherein we should have gone, we should have attacked from the beginning, but we looked extremely timid. So we need to,
Okay.
the coach Rahul Dravid needs to have those words with the captain, with the senior players right now, because this is and I'm sure he will do it. He
Sure.
cannot convey it publicly, he cannot talk about it in public.
I'm sure that
But
is happening. I'm sure that is happening as we speak. I'm sure that
Absolutely,
is
absolutely.
happening as we speak, Gaurav, because what has happened was
Absolutely.
almost embarrassing. Nikhil Sharma, before we wrap this conversation, this is the fourth successive time that India has lost a World Cup semi-final. Despite all the facilities, mental conditioning coaches, question is, why is India fumbling at the big stages? Okay. Nikhil, can you hear me? That question was for you.
No. Can you please repeat that, Shreya? I lost you for a moment.
Yes. Yes. The question I'm trying to ask is that this is the fourth successive time that India has lost a World Cup semi-final. Why is India fumbling at the big stages?
Well, I don't think we'd have a lot of positivity, but it's a great thing that India has gone to the semi-finals of the World Cup. However, expectations are very high given the fact that we basically, in a certain way, run international cricket. We run the revenues of international cricket. Why do we fail? Because firstly, I think it's important to ponder that we don't have the best of bowling attacks. We've gone to World Cup short on bowlers. Unfortunately, as things stand, more and more youngsters that are being brought into the mix due to the fact that IPL is so glamorous seem to have a fixation for batting. The sport has moved towards batting dominated game, and hence we're not able to produce the kind of bowlers that we possibly did, or some of the other nations are producing, whether it's England, Australia, New Zealand, Pakistan for that matter as well. They have a very good bowling unit. So we're not up there with them. We don't have a supply chain of great bowlers. We've had good batsmen. And on days that they fail, we're spread too thin in matches,
Sure.
and it becomes very tough. The second important point, Shreya, here is that
All right.
possibly we're building this up really high for our players to kind of live up to. So that might be the second reason as well.
Okay, pressure. We leave it there. Nikhil Sharma, thank you very much. Gaurav Gupta, good to have you on the show as well. We would have all loved a India versus Pakistan final. That is not to be, and that is the only thing that can be said on the matter now. We leave it there. Good night, gentlemen, and good night to all my viewers as well. Afrida joining you at the top of 9 with